Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of GNN. Today is May 14th, 2025, and we have another banner night on our hands here. But before we get into the details of our brand new mobile suit, let's go over some news. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today is a very big surprise because this was not on my bingo card, but it looks like another entry from Advanced Zeta is here in the form of the Rosette enhanced ground type, ground form, whatever you want to go by. It is finally here in Gundam Battle Operation 2, but we'll get into the details shortly because it looks like we have some limited supply drops going on right now in the form of the Penelope. So if you missed out on the big unveiling this time around, it is the Penelope for 700, sorry. That one kind of slipped my tongue there because I know people are very curious to see how it handles at 750, so I had a Freudian slip there. So there is a step-up supply drop for that because it is a revival part. So with the boosted supply drop version of that, so we also have the burn efficiency aux part for boosting, so it reduces 10% when starting and during high speed movement. So if you're doing all 10 pulls, this is now back in there, as well as some pilot stuff there. So really cool stuff. If you missed out, just kind of keep that in mind. That is currently going on right now. And then if you're doing the standalone 10 pull, you do get a chance to get the pilot's normal suit as well from the Hathaway's movie deal. I am totally forgetting names right now, but if you're familiar with that, that's basically you get the normal suit, the pilot suit from that. And then we also have the guaranteed step up supply drop for 750 in the lineup right now for the half off and the 2 steps subsequent afterwards. You have G doors, you have the Dagdoll level 2, the Zaku for Ilya Pazom, and the Vargol. So all of them 750 variants on that. So really cool stuff if you missed out. I'm trying to stay away from 750 personally, but for those of you that can't help it and embellish into the challenge, well, this is your chance. On top of that, we have some changes to the DP exchange counter with the level 2 500 cost Alex Chobam Armor Edition. This is a raid, which is now available in the DP exchange counter. So if you missed out on this during banner, well, it's a very special suit. Really cool stuff, especially if you're a big 0080 fan. It still puts power to the table there, so definitely pick this up if you have spare DP. And it should be a lot easier, especially with the new EX skill tuning as well. Going down the line, it doesn't look like we're getting any changes to the recycled ticket counter, so it's still currently the same right now. And I think our upcoming clan match right now is 350 cost simple battle on impact site 4v4, and this is going to be a early in the morning Pacific time match. So if you're doing that, make sure you get your sleep early or stock up on that coffee or energy drinks or whatever you happen to rely on, because that's going to be what you're going to need. The next evening one is probably not going to be for another 2-3 weeks at least, but it's not on the schedule right now. And right now it would be, I believe, for the 246th match. We are now jumping into the top 40 category, I believe. So we're probably going to see a lot more clan match activity, especially on the western side of things. And then for the clan match rank, you do get these little wave things for your emblem. This is still for the Gelgoog Lancer, which is a 400 cost general. So really cool stuff. But beyond that, we'll see. It is a oddball cost range, 350. It is lower cost that not too many people run. So the well-practiced groups are going to be definitely into that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that just because it's way early in the morning. It's usually on a Saturday. It's actually this weekend. So my body's gonna be very angry regardless. So, jumping into our main event, our 3-star Rosette is a ground type general only. I did not expect this, but with the name ground form or ground type kind of floating in the air, it's no surprise, but at the same time I'm like, well, this fat thing would be kind of funny flying around in space. It would be kind of reminding me of F-Zero stages, honestly. But enough of tangenting. This is a 500 cost general type ground combat variant of the Rosette, which was used by the Black Otter team branch of the Titan test team during their assault on Karaba's Kamchatka base. I am not familiar with that because that's all in the manga and I think Dengeki Hobby magazine. So anybody that's well versed and follows the AOZ manga timeline lore, let me know what you think in the comments. I want to kind of brush up on that. But yes, the Rosette is a prototype mobile suit developed by Anaheim Electronics as a successor to the Isaac, which utilizes a revamped design offering better overall performance. It was delivered to the Federal Forces for evaluation testing, but never officially was greenlit for production. Wow. My grammar is killing me looking at this, but the high performance of the suit basically caught the attention of the Titans and was used as the TR4 core mobile suit. And if you follow the lineage of the TR4, that eventually becomes what we now know as the Bound Dock. This unit has an optional hovering skirt unit and boasts high mobility on ground due to its high speed hover movement in the enhanced ground form. The Rosette name is a nickname used among team members and it's not its official name, so it doesn't even have a official name other than the code name. It's basically a code name, as far as I can tell. And as we mentioned, it is utilized on ground. Due to the unique structure of this suit, when encountered by an enemy, the counter animation will not occur and be knocked down on the spot. So if you are doing 10 pulls for this, you do get a chance to get the Titan's normal suit from Zeta Gundam. Really cool stuff. This is definitely one of the first uniforms during my early days of playing GBO2 that I wanted to have, just because I felt like the PMU normal suits are kind of weird, especially the helmet designs, and going with that post 1 year war Zeta felt a little more modern, a little more sophisticated. So really cool stuff for the most part. So that is the general news so far. Let's get into the nitty-gritty with the Rosette, shall we? All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with the Rosette here on our fingertips. Jumping down the line, it has 19k HP, which is pretty much par for the course. Very low ballistic resistance, which is, I would say, not surprising considering that if you do account for the Zeta Gundam lore, a lot of the suits were kind of stemming away from traditional weapons and kind of basically adapting beam weaponry. Beam weaponry was definitely becoming a lot more common, more so especially in the way that the suits were being released at 500 cost. So yeah, 12 for ballistic resistance. Has a 30 beam resistance right off the bat, which, for some people that means that's plenty enough. You don't really have to tweak anything on that. And a little bit of melee resistance. So that is right off the bat, for as far as I can tell, really good to start off with. Definitely good numbers to play with. It does have a big melee strength leading, despite having that big giant cannon on its shoulder. Which utility beam rifle, I believe, reading up on this on MAHQ, this is based on the Kihar, or the predecessor to what we now know as the Ashamar. So the rifle looks very much like that. It's a variation of that. Looks pretty cool, but I know we're kind of side tangenting going out of order because this thing has a movement speed of 140, top speed of 210. The thruster gauge is kind of lacking with 50, but I'm assuming they're probably thinking, well, they're going to put points into thrusters anyway, so it kind of makes sense. And a turning speed of 63, which, because this is a larger unit, the turning speed, I would say, is decent, but I feel like because it's bigger, it's probably going to need to have a larger one, because it seems like it's kind of in the same boat. From my understanding, similar to what the RIC DS at the time is dealing with, and of course, mine is tuned differently in that regard. Now, going into the custom parts slot category, we actually have a lot going for it. 14, 13, 9 in close, medium, and long. So that means you can kind of get a little creative. Before we get into the weapons really quick, I want to mention that we do have some things to kind of note with the enhancements, because it does have a little more leaning toward beam weaponry. It does have tuning towards HP and melee, which definitely feels like it's one of those suits that likes to get in there. Hard to say exactly how, because of how large it is, but I guess we'll all figure out in the long run. Because going into the primary beam rifle, base power 2000, which is pretty much par for the course, 85% heat rate with an effective range of 450 meters. So this puts it in the same range category as what it comes to mind is literally the Wound Wart. There are definitely other suits that come into the same category, a similar utilization there. 4 seconds between shots, 18-second cooldown time, or overheat time, excuse me, with 4-second cooldown time and a 3.5-second focus time. This will suppress on, point to shoot, while if you fully charge it, it will pierce. So this is kind of like a Hazel Custom Light in terms of the beam rifle that we're looking at here. All right, going into the primary beam saber, excuse me. 1850, probably a unique beam saber. Of course, the icon, I think, is utilizing a very similar design between the another suit and everything, but I think this might be the same one that the Bound Dock eventually uses. 2.5-second cooldown time, pretty standard stuff, nothing special, nothing overly extraordinary. Just puts damage on target. Pretty cool. Also, want to touch bases, it does not have any other swappable weaponry, so everything is unique to the Rosette here. Going into the sub-weapon category here, we have, I think, a variation of the Marasai Head Vulcans, 110 base power, 60 round shot in the mag, effective 200 meters, and a 10-second reload time. So just kind of side tangent really quick here, because we do have the Marasai at 500 as well. Slightly less effective range, less power, same capacity, but it also reloads a little bit quicker too. So something to kind of keep in note, but they are definitely not one in the same. I don't know what the fire rate will be, but I guess we'll find out in a little bit. But yeah, I would assume based on the ammo capacity, it's going to probably be stunning in the same amount of time as your regular Vulcans should with this type of loadout. We do have a sub-category version of the main beam rifle. It's a burst fire mode with consideration to the heat rate, but it has 700 base power, effective 400 meters, 1.5 seconds between shots or between bursts, with a 15-second overheat time. So yeah, sub-weapon, no focus function, but offers limited successive fire. So pretty interesting to say the least. I will definitely see a lot of people probably swap between the Vulcans and this to kind of work their way in. Now, of course, the showstopper that everybody sees on the banner art, good old BR Beam Axe. So basically that rifle actually turns into an axe. That is hilarious. And I wish they actually had a kit for this, because that is really cool. Yeah, that is really cool. I'm looking how that opens up. That is pretty dope. Of course, 22 base power, 3.5 seconds between hits. This is a powerful melee weapon stored inside the beam rifle and used to slice out its foes, capable of reducing the effects of special cushioning through attacks, while offering a toppling effect. No rapid combo. So this is kind of similar to the Tomahawk, the twin blade Tomahawk axe that the Desert Zaku has. So this is instantly, in this case, this is instantly going to knock down everybody. So similar to the RF Zaku at the higher cost, similar to another suit, this is going to be something that you're either going to neutral or just you're going to go all in. And with that said, that's pretty nice to pair up, especially with the saber. So I'm kind of curious to see how you're able to combo off of this. Now, Going into the shopping list of skills, we got some usual suspects here. So 350-meter radar, frontline support. So this is a new suit that actually comes with that. Also has a stabilization device. So effective while crouching, less likely to stagger, unable to perform tackle attacks. So this can kind of pseudo support maybe. I'm not sure if people are going to utilize it in the same way, but I do feel like because of the weapons we've seen so far, it might open up to some different play styles, perhaps. It does have a roll. Anti-blast stabilizer, balancers, obviously. Enhanced tackle level 4. So it's definitely going to be one of those suits that's kind of, you know, maybe finish off people with that. Force injector 2s. Melee combo controller. So 2-hit swing, post-combat program. So the melee weapon is equipped when hit by a ranged attack. Mobility is increased while stagger is reduced. However, when a shield weapon is selected, the skill will not activate. So that's going to be interesting how that works, because this thing does not have a shield, but I think it might refer to the rifle, so that might end up stunning it, because so far from what I'm seeing, this suit does not have any maneuver armor. So I'm very curious to see how people are going to be dealing with this, both playing it and on the receiving end. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll have to test this out in practice, because we have chest buffers there, has a back buffer, and also has a leg buffer. Leg buffer 2 exact too. So yeah, pretty interesting to say the least. Yeah, so hold on, let me see that again really quick. Chest back on, which is probably its backpack. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how that's utilized, but without further ado, I guess we'll have to just jump into practice and find out.
Ready to begin?
All right, here we go. Here we go. So this is what, 33% stun? For build stun anyways. Pretty sure this is the same amount as the regular Marasai rate of fire. So let's see, that was 25 rounds, I think. Math serves me correct, so that's not bad, but wow. 3-shot burst instantly breaks MA1, so that's pretty interesting. So neutral swing is raw damage, plus whatever melee power that you got going. Not bad. Oh, interesting.
There are 3 mobile suit categories. Each has its own role in combat and can be strong or
So yeah, I want to say this is the same as the regular Zaku swings, almost. With a few exceptions, obviously. Oh yeah, definitely now that we're a hover type too, so alright. Ooh, I like the swing on this.
General type mobile suits feature a well-rounded, durable
Alright, so
design
yeah,
that makes them
very
ideal
similar
for
to...
establishing and holding the battle line.
I wonder if this is the same as the Marasai normal swing, just with the added forward momentum for a downswing. I would say it probably could be, variation-wise. Alright, so there is that. I do want to, let's do this really quick. So we got our melee out.
During ground battles, damaging or destroying a mobile suit's legs can cripple its effectiveness. Be mindful of damage and strain on your own legs, and take every chance you get to damage the enemies.
Now, mind you, we are running stock too, so I'm very curious to see. Really want them to just hit me with other stuff, honestly. Okay, so having a melee out is because I never really understood the close combat skill that much. That just means it's basically like maneuver armor. It's basically maneuver armor. Interesting. Because I'm just gliding around, you would think that with them shooting at me like this. It's basically making me faster too, so pretty cool. Pretty cool. I think I've seen enough. Yeah, and then there's that knockdown. Technically that would be a counter, but really cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff. Alright folks, that is it for our coverage regarding the new RX-107 Rosette land combat type. Enhanced. The whole works. You guys know what I'm talking about here. Let me know what you guys think of what you saw. Honestly, I have it, and it gives me something else to kind of learn and play. At the same time, you know, I'm kind of curious to see what it brings to 500, other than it's a big lumbering thing that just gets faster when you shoot at it, shrugs off certain stuns, etc. Granted, gives it its bulky appearance. I wouldn't say it's the greatest thing on God's green earth, but it definitely has a look that only a mother could possibly love. But I'm curious to see what your guys' encounter with this is, or if you plan on getting it. I know a lot of people that are support mains are definitely passing on this not a support suit, but it kind of seems like it blends in a lot of different aspects from those two different, I would say, not so much playstyles, but categories. But, you know, I digress. Only time will tell, and then people will find out. So, till next time, guys, I will see you guys all on the next video. Take care.